Bonjour et bienvenue à la Perle Fun Center. Je m'appelle Atiegwe et je suis votre enseignant de français. In our previous lessons, we were talking about the RE verbs, how to form the present tense of RE verbs. I hope you play the videos. Fine, that's good. Now, we are going to continue today and learn the rest. We learned from group 1 up to group 6, and we know that we have 9 groups, the remaining 7, 8, and 9. Are you ready for the next lesson? Let's go.
So now here we are at our lesson, group 7 now. If you don't have the rest from group 1 to group 6, means you have to go to our previous lessons. Group 7, verbs conjugated like prendre. So how do you form the present tense of this verb? First of all, let's say that prendre has derivations, means verbs that are conjugated like prendre are called prendre derivations. So prendre and all of its derivations are conjugated in present tense by dropping the D in the plural forms and doubling the N in the third person plural. Then adding the regular RE endings. Means that when you are forming the present tense of the verb prendre, we are going to use the endings that we use for the regular RE verbs. The endings are already here, you can see them. For the je, you add S, tu, you add S, il and ed. Il and L, sorry, nothing. Nous, you add O and S. Vous, you add EZ. Il and L, you add E and T. We are going to use the same endings for these verbs. But the only difference here is what? When we come to the plural, means nous, vous, il and elle, plural. The D that is in the verb will be removed. And now we double the N at the third person plural. Mean the D will be removed at nous. Vous, the D will not be there. The il and elle, the D will not be there. But at the il and L, another N will be added before you add the end in ENT. I hope you are getting me. Now let's see one example. The verb prendre itself. Prendre, present tense. Je prends. Tu prends. Il ou elle prend. Nous prenons. Vous prenez. Il ou elle prennent. When you look at the present tense of this verb, you can see that je, tu, il, elle, they have D before the ending. But nous, there is no D. Vous, there is no D. And il and elle, there is no D. But the il and elle, the N is now 2. So this is what I was trying to explain to you. So all the verbs in this group will use the same pattern to form the present tense. And verbs like what? Let's see them. So in this group, you have verbs like apprendre, comprendre, entreprendre, se méprendre, prendre, reprendre, surprendre. So all these verbs, you can see they have prendre at the end. So they all use the pattern that the verb prendre uses to form the present tense. Group 8, verbs conjugated like connaître, connaître. So all verbs that end in être, except the verb naître. The naître also has être at the end, but naître is not part of this group. Naître is an irregular verb, but you will learn it. It's in another group. So all the verbs that have être at the end are conjugated in the present tense as follows. Drop the TRE in all the forms. Means you have tr at the end. That tr TRE will be removed from the end of the verb. And now what will you add? Je, you add S, tu, S, il, elle, T. Nous, you add son. Vous, you add C. Il, elle, you add S. The ENT is silent for all of them. So let's look at one verb, for example, but please remember the circumflex, accent circumflex. You call it accent circumflex. That is like a heart on top of the I in the verb itself. Connaître, you can see accent circumflex, like a heart on top of the I. And know that this accent circumflex will come back at the third person singular. Meaning je, tu, nous, vous. You will not see the accent circumflex. But the third person singular, these accents will come back. Now let's see the verbs. So these are the verbs first. We have the verb apparaître, comparaître, connaître, disparaître, méconnaître, paraître, reconnaître, reparaître, transparaître. They all have accent circumflex in the E, on the E, sorry, before the tr. And this is the verb connaître. Je connais, tu connais, il ou elle connaît, nous connaissons, vous connaissez, il ou elle connaissent. You can see that at il and elle, the E or the I has what? Accent circumflex, like a heart on top of the I, but the rest do not have. So all these verbs to form their present tense will use this form to form their present tense. Group 9, really irregular RE verbs. Now knowing the 8 patterns above means from the group 1 up to group 8. We've learned the patterns there, how to form the present tense of verbs. From group 1 is the regular verbs. So group 2 up to group 8, they are all irregular. Now knowing the 8 pattern above will allow you to conjugate the vast majority of irregular verbs. Means irregular RE verbs. And leaving just a few with unique conjugations. Means those that we are going to learn now, they have a unique form. They don't follow the pattern that the rest follow. We have verbs like boire, clore, conclure, exclure, inclure, occlure, coudre, croire, absoudre, dissoudre, résoudre, distraire, être, faire, défaire, parfaire, refaire, moudre, naître, plaire, déplaire, rire, sourire, suivre, poursuivre, se taire, vivre, survivre. So for these verbs, for example, you have to learn them. You don't have a unique pattern that you are going to use. By looking at them, some of them resemble each other. Verbs like conclure, exclure, inclure, occlure. Verbs like absoudre, dissoudre, résoudre. Verbs like faire, défaire, parfaire, refaire. Plaire, déplaire. Rire, sourire. Suivre, poursuivre, vivre, survivre. If you look at them, you can say they resemble each other. Means when you know one, you know the other one. So this is what we are going to learn in our next lesson, the really irregular verbs. We will not learn them today because of time. So play what you've learned today, learn them well before you go to the next one. So this brings us to the end of our lesson of today. And don't forget, if you want to learn more, go to our website www.laperlefrenchcenter.com. A live class is there waiting for you. See you next time, and I'll meet you in your live class. Bye bye.